My name is Tim Johnson. Some of you might know me from my day job. I'm a professional cyclist. Most of the year I'm forced to be a leg-shaving roadie, racing against a bunch of guys that spend their spare time comparing wattage and figuring out ways to be skinnier. I'm not into all that. I do try to be the best cyclist I can be, but without letting it take over my life. But it's what I have to do to pay the bills. My true love may seem sadistic to some. I like to let my hair grow out, ride in the cold, and if I'm lucky, it'll even rain and snow. You see, my true passion is racing cyclocross. I just came off a pretty good season. Let me take you through it.
National champion, Tim Johnson!
Okay, but first let me explain something. Yep, there are 9 balls all over my kit. A lot of them. I wasn't sure about them at first either, but they kind of grew on me. Anyway, like I said, I had a pretty good year. By the time I made it to nationals, I was in good shape and the course conditions would be perfect for me. I also had a bit of luck on my side. But let's back up a bit. The road season just wrapped up with the Tour in Missouri, and the first big cross race of the season was coming up in Vegas during the Interbike trade show. This is the time of year I literally switch gears and go from road to cross. In the first part of the cross season, I'd rather go out and ride in the woods than stress about interval training. Riding technical single track is not the typical way most people train for cross racing. But I believe it increases my agility and helps me stay light on the bike when conditions are at their worst. In cross, we race in whatever conditions are thrown at us. This is going to be the first Interbike for me that didn't include a stop at the Bermuda Grand Prix. I stayed home that week and tried to digest the big week of racing in Missouri, switching up 6 hours in the saddle to ripping on a cross bike in the woods. I was really looking forward to traveling with Lynn instead of in a van full of my knucklehead Health Net teammates. If you didn't know, Lynn, my wife, she's a badass cross racer. She's won almost every race out there, even if she says she still doesn't know how to race cross.
We've had the perfect setup. Both of us have been racing together cross in the last couple years, and we have the same mechanics, Stu Thorne, and the same crew who follows us everywhere. For us, it's really the best situation because once the road season starts, we travel so much, we don't see each other, and then at least now we have a chance to travel together and be together.
Traveling with Lynn, Stu, and Jeremy, it's always a good time. Stu Thorne is my wrench, my partner in crime, and the owner of CyclocrossWorld.com. He's also a great friend, and it seems like we've been at this forever.
We're on the road together every weekend. Tim and I spend a lot of time during the week because he lives close by, and Jeremy's not that far away. But when you get to the races, everything's got to click.
This year was a tough transition from road to cross. It was my first time with a major stage race at the end of the road season and so close to the first big cross race. My legs felt tired and heavy and my brain was still in the road tactics mode. Goals for me this year were pretty simple. Have fun, race at the front, try to win it if I had a shot. I had some serious self-esteem and image issues with the 9-ball kit. Endless questions about where it came from and why the hell I was wearing it. First time I suited up in the kit was by myself in a hotel room in Vegas. I stood in front of a mirror and wondered what the hell I was wearing. I got a little distracted by this 1/9 ball that was right over my junk. I knew I had to remove it. I dealt with it most of the day before I finally had to take action. There I was, sharpening over it in the parking lot minutes before the race. The fans were going crazy, and all of us were psyched to show off under the lights. It was a killer scene, but it really wasn't much fun, sprinting your ass off in thick, wet grass for an hour. Trebone, my usual nemesis, won the race. Jeremy made the podium in third, and I finished a weak ninth. Go figure. Maybe the 9 balls were going to make it a tough year for me.
That hurt so bad. Makes me wish I did a cross race before this. Good race, Tim. Thanks, Dave.
You put that tag in your stock.
Heading into the start of the season, like any athlete I guess, I had some serious doubts about my abilities and wondered about my bad legs. I felt less than my best and wondered when I was going to start to come around. To make sure I still had some gas in the later parts of the season, I decided not to race some of the small races, the ones that weren't carrying UCI points or were far away from home. Of course, I'm happy now that it all worked out, but I had some serious doubts during that time. And then came the races in Gloucester, Mass. Gloucester's always been an important race for me, because it's a big race, but also because it's put on by good friends of mine. It's got courses that are good for me and a bunch of UCI points. Plus, it's right near my hometown. It's kind of like having the World Championships down the street.
I hope so. You gotta stand up, though. Oh yeah, the polka dot, the 9 ball.
Personally, it gave Lynn and I a chance to show off our new house, our new team-wear Toyota Tundra that was going to be our home for the season. The setup we had in the Циклокроссworld.com compound was killer. I had my friends, my family, pretty much everything was looking good until the race started.
I had kind of a bad start because I skipped a couple gears right off the bat and I ended up pulling a foot out of the pedal. I was going, I think I was probably like 7th, 8th place, and then going right through one of the tight corners, I rolled my rear tire, and right when it happened, I was pissed. I just can't believe this. And I started jogging right away because there was so many people. The traffic was so heavy. And then actually somebody in the crowd was like, oh, just pop it back on, pop it back on. So I stopped and I put it back on and went a little bit and realized that the other side of the tire was off too, so I had to put that back on. Dropped 25 spots, I don't know what it was, and I had to put it back on and then start going from there, and it just put my head down and keep going. I was riding with an unglued rear tire, so I couldn't pedal hard, and I couldn't brake hard at the rear, so I rode with all my weight on the front wheel the entire way around the course back to the pit. When you're in a situation like that, it's not really, you can't rely on other people around you to pull you or to get a draft or anything, so it's really just time trialing back up, and I wanted to do the fastest lap times I could.
We had some mechanical trouble, and it was ultimately my fault. And Tim, I felt bad for Tim because I definitely made him work about 20 times harder than he really should have.
You don't need a wheel?
Stu and I practice pits all the time at home, and so for me to jump off the bike and grab the other one, it's super fast.
And there is Johnson! There is Johnson! There is Johnson! The focus on Johnson is unbelievable! The principal coming into the room! He is angry about this! Here comes Johnson! He will close in about 10 seconds! Johnson picked up 8 places this last lap, 8 different spots.
You can do it.
I can't say that I didn't wrestle with the fact that, can I actually do this? I mean, I wasn't sure if I could do it, and I just had to tell myself to shut up and friggin' put my head down and try and make it back as much as I could.
Tim, finish strong, come on!
We've seen a lot of front runners give up at that point. You lost 35, 40 places. What in God's name made you keep going?
This is Gloucester, man. How can I give up here? This is the greatest race that we have in New England.
Great, great, great comeback. We'll be talking about this one for a long time. Tim Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Great job.
He just got dealt a bad card, and he still played the hand really well, and he didn't freak out. I always say it's how well you get up off the mats, and I think Tim gets off the mats better than any bike racer I've ever seen.
There's one thing that dude can do. He can scrap, and when the chips are down, he actually seems to shine even a little bit more. You know, when the courses are really gnarly, he can step it up a notch, and when he has to fight, he can fight. And to see him come back, it didn't surprise me a whole lot.
After I rolled the tire on Saturday, I spent 45 minutes chasing at full speed to catch the leaders. It was disappointing that my full speed wasn't my normal full speed, but I finally made it back up to 6th place. I was still looking for that extra gear. Sunday's race didn't start out that well either. I hit the deck in the first lap in a stupid crash. Spent the rest of the race chasing at full speed. Again. I had some of the legs I was looking for and almost got the win, but wound up second behind Jesse Anthony. I had some depth in my legs and was happy about the way I felt on the cross bike for the first time. It showed me that I could drill it for the full 60 minutes. I really didn't have my usual self-confidence until we went down to the Gronogh and Wissahickon races. Jeremy and I were trading time at the front, racing hard and making sure that one of us would take the win. First for me, Gronogh, and second for me on Sunday. Not too bad. Things were finally starting to shape up. The U.S. Grand Prix Series kicked off in Louisville, Kentucky. Jeremy took a huge win on Saturday after we tag teamed Trebon and Wicks. I got away from Ryan in the end for second. But winning on Sunday was probably one of my biggest wins against Ryan. Head-to-head, back and forth, a straight-up victory, and it felt awesome. The 9 balls were starting to grow on me a little bit, and I could finally make it out the door for warm-up and training sessions without feeling too self-conscious. Apparently the jokes were starting to die down a little bit too. The grind of the season and the fight for the USGP Point Series was on. I had a couple strong finishes under my belt and felt like I had steady form. I was feeling pretty good. I started to believe that I still had my skills. I could go into a race confident that I could suffer at the front for the first 50 minutes and then take any opportunity I had to win. We went to the next USGP races in New Jersey. The week before, Champion Systems had gone ahead and made me a custom USGP leader skin suit with all my sponsors on it and even a few 9 balls in there, and it looks sweet. On Saturday's race, I had to make up some time after a tough start. I had to get back to the front.
Tim Johnson goes down on the berm over here, and he loses a whole lot of time right now, getting back on the bike very slowly.
But just as I was catching back on, I screwed up on a super slow, muddy corner. It was a mistake that I shouldn't have made. 15 seconds spent wiggling on the ground just made it impossible to get back. I finished third behind the Twin Towers from Kona.
Big round of applause, folks, for Tim Johnson. He's the guy that's overcome all kinds of problems today, picking up third place, and hopefully he's able to hang on to that leader's jersey. Way to go, Timmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, your series leader, Tim Johnson! He woke up this morning knowing that this would be the day for him. When he sees rain, he sees gold. Tim Johnson right now going to the front.
race number 2 on Sunday, I was second behind Ryan. With the storm brewing and rain coming, I was confident that I could give him a run for his money. But I was really surprised at how Ryan handled the mud. I'm usually able to narrow the power gap between us with my handling skills, but I was shocked. He nailed it, and I lost the jersey. It's brutal to lose the lead in a series like the GPs. Having the white leaders jersey is really an honor, and it's tough to watch somebody else take it home.
It's Ryan Jamal Landell, your series leader. U.S. Grand Prix of Циклокросс, your defending champion of the series, is back in that jersey.
I had a couple weekends off to go home and figure out how to get the jersey back. Lynn was away at a World Cup in Belgium, leaving me at home alone with nothing but time to think about the last part of the season. Sometimes being alone really helps me to focus and prepare for what's next. The last race of the series was in Portland, Oregon. Portland's big for me. The year before I won the final race of the USGP, but finished second overall leading into the national championships. The weather is always a factor, and Ryan was quoted in an online story as claiming wins for both races and the series overall. I don't blame him. The way he'd been riding definitely gave him lots of confidence. But for me, I try not to race against people in the press and to save some of that juice for race days. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for lifting any pressure off me.
So get ready for a pretty big storm moving in tomorrow with some very windy and gusty conditions, especially along the coast.
We get to Portland and it was pissing rain as usual and really cold. It was the biggest storm in 20 years and it was perfect. Portland's known for having the most passionate and craziest fans in the US circuit, and the weather never keeps them away.
Suey. Suey. You gotta loosen up the brake.
Loosen it up.
And add a couple PSI.
Sure.
Check it first, but tell me what it is. It just feels a bit low. They're calling us up?
Huh? Yeah. Calling us up. Leave it in the staging. Scroll down here, Tim. Behind us.
Where's my other bike?
Hey, hang up.
There it is.
Switch. That one's all set.
Rider number 2 today, out of Cannondale, Lear, Cyclocross World. Please welcome 4-time national champion, first American to ever be on the podium of a world championship, Tim Johnson. Ryan Tremont.
what I can remember, all kind of a blur actually, which is definitely a sign of a good race. I definitely don't remember races very precisely or clearly as some people do. Like some people can recite every lap, every turn, every uphill, every time they slipped, every time they fell, whatever. I remember banging shoulders with Jeremy and Adam Craig in the first lap, but after that I was just kind of, I don't really remember very much.
Good job. Oh, go!
Chance Nova is just bewildered. He's never been lapped by the leader. This is unbelievable. Johnson continues to pour it on. Johnson will see the ball lap when he comes by.
Last lap, do it.
Tim Johnson with one more to get around. It is going to be Tim Johnson has scored an amazing victory today. Tim Johnson.
Good job, Timmy.
Good job.
I got it.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Oh, shit.
After a huge win for me on Saturday, I regained the lead in the USGP with only one race to go. I almost won the series right there, but Todd Wells missed second place by a few feet in the sprint with Ryan.
I needed Wells to beat Ryan for points.
The crazy part was, as I was packing my bags for the trip, I purposely left my custom leader skin suit at home so I wouldn't jinx myself in the fight to get it back. I doubted whether or not I could do it. And then, I wish I had it back.
Is here with a look at that first lap local forecast. Sophie, good morning to you.
Good morning, you guys. It's been a crazy start for our December, and today the weather continues. We're talking about a lot of wind and a lot of rain. A blustery day for us pretty much all throughout the state.
The point's really convoluted, and I know the basics, but I really can't spend too much energy worrying about whether or not the points are going to work out in my favor. The only thing that I can do is have the best race I can, and hopefully I beat him, and hopefully I win the series. And that's pretty much it. That's the simple take on it. So day 2 was a winner-take-all between me and Ryan. It was still nasty outside, but the course had changed. It was thicker mud and harder to pedal through, making pure power a bigger asset than the slip and slide style of Saturday.
Come on, Carlo, where's the goal? Out of that first big turn. His riding was absolute abandon. Look at Trevor Gosper.
Go.
Pulled it all together and made us all look silly out there, winning by a huge margin. I had an okay race for second, riding really well and battling with Jeff Kabush and Todd Wells, but it didn't matter because we watched Ryan take the leader's jersey back and claim the series title. That gave me second overall in the series, again.
You know, the jersey's going to go on somebody else's shoulders at some point. And it's certainly nice to have it, but it's not the be-all, end-all.
He was bummed again because he got second again to the series for, I think, the third year in a row. But, you know, he was ready to probably get a revenge at Nationals, and that's how he left Portland.
And the series meant so much, and it sort of set the table for Nationals, and Nationals still remains the grand dame of U.S. cyclocross.
It's the one we're shooting for all year at this point, and the USGP series, yeah, he was the first loser, but he's done really well in it, and it's just time to move on. And it's the USGP, and the Nationals are the most important race of the year.
So I lost the USGP, but there's still a bigger title up for grabs. The U.S. National Championships in Kansas City. One day, one race, and one national champion. The last time the Nationals were in KC, back in 2000, I actually won it, and I was looking forward to going back. The course was covered in snow and ice, with mud underneath it, stormy and very cold. It snowed 5 inches on Thursday and Friday, but luckily I flew out a day early to beat any storms. Jeremy and I rode the course a bunch on Saturday, and conditions were all over the map. Fast and icy, some slow spots, and super sketchy. Tire selection was going to be crucial for the race. I tested the Pipistrellas and the high-speed ruts against my usual Typhoon Dugasts. The slicks don't have much traction, but it made it easier to at least head in one direction. Riding those ruts is like riding over frozen corduroy. It's really hard to keep it straight. No crashes, but plenty of almosts made it fun and showed how sketchy the course really was.
Thank you.
I was able to see how much trouble Ryan and Barry were having, so I thought Page and Wells would be the guys to watch for Sunday.
I like Lil Jon, but I was thinking more like...
Yo, what's good?
Yeah!
I can't believe it's been like 3 months already. I can't take this, man.
I did up my hair for Europe. What do you think? This is pretty pro, right? I dyed the front of it, and then we got it going in the back.
You and the Czech guys will fit in perfectly together.
Here's our sweet olive loaf for breakfast.
Sure.
We're going Greek.
Oh my God, can I get Can you get the keys in the car?
Yep.
The Escalade.
You have a room key?
Are you gonna open this or?
22s. Hold on, man. There's only so many hands.
Heads up.
For what? Sorry about that, pardon me. These Subarus, they handle great, you know? They're very, very stable. Always something, you know, and they turn
the
left.
all-wheel drive is it's just so unique. The way that it handles just makes it just really impressive. The scent coming from the...
It's not quite that new car smell.
It's not that new car smell. It's more like burnt transmission.
Well, there are 1,400 miles in this thing, so you'd expect it to feel kind of used up.
I feel like when they said the break-in period, this wasn't what they were talking about.
Race day prep went really well.
How you doing? Good.
You're gonna win today, you know that?
I'll try.
It's your course.
See you, Damien. What's up, Stewie?
Where's the car?
What bike? That one?
Before the race, I took off alone and cut across to a different section of the course to watch the women's race. It reinforced my idea that just staying upright would pay off more in the long run than drilling it from the start.
Those follow treads are not going to work.
No? What do you want to run? Try some Rhino? Ours is on Rhinos right now.
Yeah. There's just not enough traction. And the ruts are like rounding.
I noticed that over there.
So it's not...
That girl went off the course where she went off right in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
The line's way to the left, but you got stuck behind it. And it was just...
Yeah.
I rode Syrians with mud tires and they're so much better.
Yeah, let me try them. Yeah.
Up until 45 minutes ago, Stu and I were going back and forth on tire selection.
The Pipistrellas, if I lose it, I can't save it. I can't come back. You know, like once you lose it, they don't come back. So those things, I'm going to be able to risk a little bit more, and I'll be able to hold it up.
And now we'll bring the top riders in America to the line. We are now underway and our horses are on the track. The horses are on the track. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the final race of the national champion. Let's hear from the elite men.
Tim Johnson in the polka dot. He's way back in 6th place.
Start, moving up when I could, but Page and Wells were off the front already. I was back a bit, but riding within myself and trying to keep mistakes to a minimum. Bike handling was playing such a big part each lap that I finally shed my winter gloves that I felt were robbing me of a little extra control. Page and Wells with 4 laps to go. Page upped it right away, gapping me but dropping Wells.
Johnson, here comes Johnson. What a ride from Tim today. Johnson looking amazingly smooth right now.
With 3 to go, I finally caught Paige and attacked. With 2 to go, Paige and I were alone in the front, battling for the lead. And a lap and a half to go, I drilled it into and through the sketchiest part of the course. Paige made a mistake behind me and crashed. That was it. It gave me my chance. The gap maxed out at 8 seconds with a lap to go.
Johnson trying to hold him up, but right now, Tim Johnson is dead in the bank. He's got the money, and now he's in the getaway car.
I held the throttle wide open with my head down and suffering like hell through the bell lap, on my limit the entire time.
Go, TJ! National champion, Tim Johnson! Tim did it! He did it! He did it! Johnson and Paige for the silver! Well, congratulations to Tim Johnson, the Cannondale Lear CyclocrossWorld.com rider.
Oh man, I'm so glad that's over. Those last few laps were so hard. Jonathan was just coming and coming and coming. And, oh, that course was just getting worse every single minute, and just deteriorating the whole day.
Tim Johnson, America's national cyclocross champion. We love you, Tim.
I'm so glad it's over. That was the most stressful I've been at a bike race in a long time. I know I said all that shit about not being stressed in Portland and, you know, blah, blah, it's not that bad. But I had 500 people tell me that today was my day and it was going to be my chance to win, but it was tough.
Has this sunk in yet? What happened today?
You know, it did when I got home and I started changing, and you know, it's the same shit at every race. Your legs are burning still because you put the imbrication on earlier, and Jeremy's in here packing up to leave, and it was just like any other race, but then, you know, it slowly did a little bit. So now I have all my boys waiting for me down at the bar to give me a toast. Jeremy hooked us up with a little bottle of Cook's champagne. Hey, look at this.
Shit, man, you got the trucker hat.
Oh, I do.
Want a beer? Whoa! You're buying.
Jeremy bought this.
Did he really? He bought it? Really? Where did he get it?
I don't know.
Oh, he really
here.
sprung.
Yeah.
He really sprung with the good stuff. Whoa! It's like, whoa.
But hey, to everybody involved. Good job, bro. Thanks very much. And Jeremy, missing in action.
Cheers to our national champion. Here's to our national champion.
For Tim to win nationals, I think it was a victory from the last couple years that he came back doing cross because he had stopped doing only road. And he had a really hard time in 2004 in Europe. So I think that whole thing made it up that came up to that, and then that's why it was so emotional for him, I think, that when he won that.
For Tim to win this season, when so many guys were so good, and the events were so good, and the races were so good, and you never knew who was a favorite, for him to win the Nationals was, I would say, arguably the best of all of his Nationals wins, because he had to beat a lot of really good guys.
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly moments that Tim had some bad days, I had bad days, we all have them. Sure, if we could have thrown those out, then maybe it wouldn't have been so exciting either. He had a good year and we had a lot of good weekends. Sure, throw a few of them out, but overall, can't complain.
There's a lot of guys that are hammers, and then there's guys that are nails that can just take stuff. And Tim can win with flats and crashes and mishaps, and that's kind of what makes him exciting.
If I had to do it again, I wouldn't change a thing. I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat. I wouldn't hesitate.